Welcome to Tackle Talk Live, a show dedicated to making you a better bass fisherman. I'm Ranger Dyer Pro Staffer Steve Graff, along with V&M General Manager and Touring Fisherman Kevin Jean. And Kevin, hey, we've got a lot to talk about today. A lot going on in the bass fishing world on the professional side. We're going to cover the Bassmasters. We're going to cover the elites, and we're also going to cover the Major League Fishing today, and give everybody a kind of a running update, kind of what's been going on with this both tours, as they're both fishing on Mondays, which is very rare.
It is, especially at this point in the game, Steve. You know, the BASS Elite Series, the first 2 days got postponed due to wind. Major League Fishing chose to move their dates back, so they're going more during the week, which mainly because they get more live coverage.
Right.
Both events have really been hit hard with weather, which I think we all have this year. All the rain and wind and all the storms we've had this year.
And more on the way.
Exactly, more coming. So it's definitely throw these guys a curveball, but you know what? They still catch them no matter where they go.
And I think probably both organizations, definitely the former FLW side of it, they've had a few incidents with weather over the last couple of years. I know an incident, I fished at Grand Lake, Oklahoma a couple of years ago in Acosta, had a really bad accident during a pouring down rain. Last year, Okeechobee had a really bad situation.
These guys are very cautious now, which they should be. I mean, that's a good thing. That's a good thing for anglers. Hats off to BASS for calling both those day one and day two. Just we're not sending our guys out in this, and it was the right call.
But another thing to take into account now, because I actually thought about this my last event at Rayburn. The fog setting, we took off at the ABA during the fog. I mean, it wasn't fog, it wasn't really bad. You could see 300 or 400 yards in front of you. Right. Wasn't a problem running. But when you got there, the fog came in like an hour later, and I was really worried where I was at with so many high school kids out there running now. The lack of experience by a lot of boat operators, somebody's going to get hurt.
Absolutely. And, on these bigger lakes, Toledo Bend, San Raven, if you're making a 20, 30-minute run, you might not have any fog right there at takeoff where you're at, but if you're trying to make it up the lake, all of a sudden you get 10, 15 miles up the lake and you can't see, your your hand in front of your face.
Yeah, the fog bank.
So, they made the right decisions. But, so BASS fished, the first 2 days of the event was Saturday, Sunday. Top 20 fish championship Monday today.
Right.
So they're fishing championship Monday right now. They actually drive tonight. The ones that are fishing championship Monday, their practice on Lake Chickamauga starts tomorrow.
Right.
And that event, the tournament will start on Friday for these guys. So having these, because they had Monday was basically their travel day.
Right.
But the weather delay pushed the event back. So a lot of these guys are going to have to drive through the night tonight and start practice tomorrow.
Yeah, I think a lot of these, it's probably, 6-7 hour drive from Eufaula up to Chickamauga, if I had to guess.
It's got to be a good drive.
Yeah, it's got to be a pretty good little track.
They gave them a full day off, which if they give them a full day off to travel, then it's a good little ways.
Right,
Unfortunately, they're just not going to get that day off.
Well, real quick, let's kind of give an update, with the Major League Fishing Tour at Lake Eufaula, Alabama. Jacob Wheeler just seems to be running away with everything.
He does. He caught them really good on day one there with Major League Fishing, that event. Now, today, he's not catching them as well. I know Ott Defoe's catching them pretty good.
Right.
Some other guys behind him. Now, the biggest thing, so Major League Fishing, it has made a lot of rule changes this year, which we'll jump into more later. But one of them being, if you win a qualifying round, you go straight to the championship round.
Right.
You don't have to fish the knockout round.
Right.
So I know them guys are really trying to catch him and win this round, so they don't have to worry about the knockout round.
Right.
Which I really like that rule because it makes you, a lot of it last year was trying to determine if. Saving fish for the next round, this, that, and the other. This makes you go for it. Makes them guys catch the fish top of the leaderboard.
Exactly, and some of these guys I noticed during the course of this event were kind of saving fish at times, because you don't want to burn your fish out. So I think it's making them manage their fish a lot better than what they have in the past.
It really has. So another rule change. And it's not very clear how this rule is going to go from lake to lake, is the 2-pound rule. Now, for this tournament, the fish had to be a 2-pound fish to
Right,
count.
right.
If it was 114, 115, now me personally, 114, 115 did not count.
Right.
It had to be a 2-pound minimum to weigh for the Major League Fishing. I loved it.
Yeah, I think
will
it's great.
be honest. The weighing a 1-pound fish every cast you catch them just got old for me.
Well, and it's not much different than having a 14 or 16 inch minimum.
Right. Right.
That's about a 2-pounder anyway.
The only thing on this rule, I really liked it. It's unclear as the tournament year goes on. Are they going to have 2-pound rule on every tournament?
Exactly.
Right. Are they going to? Are they going to switch it depending on what lake they're on? I don't think they've really narrowed that down yet.
Right.
I do like where they're headed with this, though.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's a great rule change for 2020. I hope they do implement it at all the lakes. I just think it makes for better TV, better watching, in my opinion. I'm not into watching them catch a bunch of 1.25s.
No.
So,
no.
But anyway.
Hats off to them for making that change, too, because I think that's really going to help them down the road.
And right now, of course, Mike McClellan's following up with Jacob Wheeler. Ott Defoe's in third. Wesley Stratton. I just don't see anybody probably catching Jacob. Do you?
Not today. He got too big of a lead on day one.
Yeah.
It is interesting. The lake is falling very fast. They're pulling it. I know. See, today is Monday. Yesterday, Sunday, Saturday night. They pulled the lake fell almost 2 feet.
Right.
Overnight, they sucked that water down.
Yeah.
So it's really affected those fish, and that might be what happened to Jacob today. I don't really know exactly what's causing his bite to go away, but that might affect him going into the championship round.
Yeah. One thing I noticed watching it is that a lot of guys have moved to the mid-lake south, and why? It's where your cleaner water is going to be.
Right.
Because up north there's the river system, the Chattahoochee River coming in there, and I can tell you from experience from being over there last year, it muddies up quick, and they said it's chocolate milk up there right now. So a lot of these guys have progressed down the lake, and of course today you don't have everybody fishing today, so only the top 20 are fishing right now.
Correct.
And but anyway, good luck to those guys, and now let's hop over and go over to the St. Johns River. We got the Bassmaster Elite Series opening up their season over there. And what a great place to open up. And, as we're looking at Bass Tracks Live right now, Paul Mueller is sitting there in first place with 46.9.
I think he's got that thing sealed, Steve. He caught a big fish earlier about 11 o'clock,
right,
and that really kind of put him out front. As of then, right before the show, he had 4 fish for close to 10 pounds.
Right, and there's only 40 minutes left in the tournament.
Yeah, so Paul's got that thing sealed. One very interesting thing about Paul, every day his fish, and for a lot of them over there down in Florida, it's an evening bite.
Yeah, right.
So I was listening to an interview with Paul Mueller, who's going to end up winning this event. He found those fish in practice, but he didn't go to them. He chose not to go to those fish to about 10 or 11 o'clock the first day of the tournament. He says, because it's an evening bite. It's strictly an evening bite. Now, I want to ask you, if you found what you thought would be the winning fish, how anxious would you be to go to them and make sure, one, for me, I don't want anybody else to beat me there.
Yeah, you hope guys will honor Paul and his. Now there was a guy,
but what about on day one? If somebody beats you in there and all of a sudden you roll in, well, I knew these fish was here, but I didn't want to come to them because they don't bite till later.
And where they're fishing, it's possible other guys find the same group of fish. These guys are good. They all fish the same way in a lot of ways. And in terms of finding fish, a lot of them can find the same groups of fish. There was a guy that was in on Paul's area today. This morning, he's getting ready for an FLW series next weekend. Yeah. Now, Paul did ask the guy, would you mind, hey, man, just let me have this. If you don't mind, I'm fishing for $100,000 today. Are you fishing next weekend, the FLW? He said, yes, I am. He said, if you don't mind, I really would appreciate it. And the guy did. He obliged, and he put his trailer motor up and let him have the whole. It was like a creek he was in.
And that FLW series starts down there this week. Again, it goes back to the weather conditions pushed everybody back. All those guys are there trying to practice right now.
Exactly.
With the event going on. So hats off to that gentleman for letting him have that water for sure. So
now one of the anglers, and when more than one, some of the guys have said this has been a tournament where when you find them in an area, you better pitch a tent.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
A lot of these guys aren't running around for this event. They said when they find fish, they're sticking to them and trying to milk them.
Well, those fish are heavy pre-spawn. They have not done their deal yet, which is it's not.
It's coming, but it ain't there yet.
For Florida, it should already be done, and in the middle of it, I ain't gonna say done, but right in the middle of it, it's not happened yet.
No,
so those fish are really grouped up, waiting to make that push, and so when you find them, it's a big wad of them.
Exactly. So that's kind of what's going on with those guys with Bassmaster Elite Series as well as Major League Fishing. And so now, I guess we want
to talk all this weather conditions, everything going on. We've seen it affect Lake Eufaula.
Right. Exactly.
We've seen it affect down where BAS is at in Florida, Harris.
Yeah.
Is it Harris?
No, St. John's.
St. John's. Had a brain problem there for a minute. But St. John's now, so we've seen the weather conditions play a role in all this, Stephen.
Right.
We want to kind of talk about the rising muddy water that comes and hits quick on a body of water that you're fishing. Kind of some tips and techniques on what to do when the water's rising, especially high muddy water, when it muddies the water up overnight possibly. Some different things and what these guys are having to do and how they're having to all relocate fish, completely change the way they practiced and go to the conditions and fishing the conditions at the moment.
Yeah, best tip, put on trailer and go home. Go play with mama or do whatever you want to do, but high muddy cold water can be absolutely brutal. For fishing.
It really is.
And it's definitely not a fun fishing trip. So unless you're in a tournament format and fishing on the pro side and you got to be out there, probably slowing down would be my best advice for a lot of these guys.
Number one is trying to find the cleanest water.
On the
lake.
Doubt.
There will be some part of that lake that will be holding a little bit cleaner water, depending on which direction the wind blew, so on and so forth. So you got to find the cleanest water you can possibly find. With the rising water, a lot of times, especially this time of the year, spawn, those fish are going to move with the water. So you want to get somewhere that you can cast to the bank.
Right.
And definitely a moving, if it's really muddy, a moving vibrating bait, spinner bait, a vibrating jig, something that really has a lot of thump and gets their attention. So, again, you have to move with the water. And you have to find the cleanest water you can fish in. So that really affects the fish harder than a cold front.
Right.
Anything muddy water affects the fish worse than anything out there.
After you've tried the moving baits and they're not working, you pick up your flipping stick and you go to work, because you get in the bushes, you get in that shallow water, get under those sawgrass. What do they call that? Sawdust mats. Make sure you get on, punch that kind of stuff. Any bank vegetation you can find with bushes that's green, you need to be flipping it, because
they're going to suck up to that vegetation and the stumps. They're going to suck up real tight to it and just kind of wait for it, hopefully, to pass.
Now, cold, muddy water, if it's fresh, cold, muddy water, like over the last 2 days, that definitely affects them. But if it's been there for a week, those fish have gotten acclimated to it within a week, and a lot of times you can still continue to catch them in that cold, muddy water, doing what you would normally do. Depends on how long it's been high and muddy and cold.
Yeah.
So a lot of factors go into that.
Yeah, it really is. And like you said, if unless it's tournament, it's just it makes it miserable tough the first time of the year, that rising cold, muddy water.
Yeah, and current. Current can play a role. If you find the right current spot that fish will set up on, even in muddy water, they will still bite if you can find the right spot.
They absolutely. Just a few things kind of think about going in those conditions. We're going to have a lot of that here coming up. I know all across the South, we're getting hit hard with rain. It's warm rain, so it's not going to be the worst condition possible. But we are going to have rising muddy water. When you get that much rain at one time, it will be muddy. All across Toledo and Sam Rayburn here, so it's going to affect people the next week or so for sure. Right. I know that's going to put the bushes as a major player at Sam Rayburn.
No doubt. Real quick, Brian Thrift. Brian Thrift, as some of them refer to him as Mr. Eufaula. This is a guy, when he jumped from FLW, Kevin, over to Major League Fishing, I thought, now this dude, I rank Brian probably in right now. If I had to pick top 5, Brian Thrift is one of my top 5.
Absolutely.
This guy is a stick.
Absolutely. And one thing about him switching to MLF, Steve, that's how he likes to fish.
It's
he
right up
wants
his
to
alley.
catch them and catch them and catch them.
Yep.
So, and he won the last 2 FLW events on Lake Eufaula. He's won.
Yep.
So he is very familiar with the lake. FLW guys have fished Lake Eufaula a lot. He's got a lot of history there. And, with his round, he just knocked it out of the park.
He
really did.
Yeah.
He's going to be someone that's going to be hard to beat. I know Jacob Wheeler's having a good showing, but with Brian Thrift's knowledge on that and history on that lake, he's going to be hard to beat on championship, which will be championship Wednesday this week.
Exactly.
Now saying that, let's talk a little bit about them FLW guys fishing the MLF this year. Dudley, James Watson, all 3 of them are having a good showing. Thrift had a good showing in his round yesterday. Dudley and Watson are having a good showing today.
Right.
So those guys coming over from FLW, they have fished Lake Eufaula and Okeechobee a lot.
Oh, yes.
Over the past few years. I think they have started Okeechobee the past 10 or 15 years.
Okeechobee, they started Okeechobee back in 03, 04 when I fished as a co-op.
And have went every year.
They go there every year.
And that's their next stop.
Yeah.
So also, those same guys, FLW has fished Eufaula 5 or 6 times over the last 10 years.
Right.
So the FLW guys who are very familiar with the first 2 bodies of water that the MLF is fishing this year, whereas the Elite Series guys that came over from that, they're not.
No.
They're not as familiar with these 2 bodies of water. So I'm looking for the FLW guys to make a strong push in the points on Major League Fishing with these first 2 events they have.
Especially for season 2, a lot of these guys just got over there, and they are some sticks. And they're going to be guys that it's going to be hard to beat. And like you said, especially for Thrift, this is what he likes to do. This is his cup of tea right here.
He just wants to go catch them and catch lots of them. He's got about 20 rods on the deck every time, and he's going to throw every one of them.
Real quick question. Yesterday, Kevin Van Dam. 2 periods went by. He ain't boated a fish. I mean, what is going on? Everybody's wondering what's going on with Van Dam. Now, he ended up in like 13th or 14th.
Right.
But he didn't have but I think he caught 4 fish for 13 pounds, whatever it was. But what is going on, we think, with Kevin is just not in the right, bad decisions? I mean,
Steve, fishing is all about momentum. And, of course, the last 20 years, KVD has been the best one out there. He had a rough year last year, and I think you can't blame it on MLF because he's been fishing this thing for 5 or 6 years. He's won the most cup events out of anybody that's fished MLF. So it's not the change of the tours.
Right.
I think he's just going through, that lull, and once he comes out of it, he's going to be scary.
Well, he's done this before.
He has.
He came out, everybody questioned, will he ever win again?
He missed the Classic a couple years ago.
Yeah, and then what did he do? He won a couple or 2 or 3. All of a sudden, he's hot again. You're like, well, so much for that KVD's done.
He might be on a dry spell right now and kind of, taking it slow. But once he gets his momentum going again, Steve, the first championship round, I'm going to predict the first championship round he makes MLF this year, as soon as he makes it, oh, man, he's gonna be scary.
Yeah.
He's going to be scary.
Real quick, let's drop back to what you alluded to earlier, Sam Rayburn. Let's talk about Sam Rayburn. It's coming up this weekend. The BFL will be taking place at Sam Rayburn this coming weekend. And so looking forward to, and had a record turnout for that first event at Sam Rayburn. I don't see for anything to change. I look for there to be another big turnout for this event.
Yeah, I think, Steve, but
also
but
there's something going on.
There's Bass Champs going on Toledo Bend this coming weekend as well. We'll talk more about that event in Toledo Bend in a minute. But
you think 20? We lose 20?
Maybe a little more. Yeah. Maybe a little more. I'm going to say about 30 boats I think you're going to lose. Yeah. I hate they're doing this. I would like to fish both events. I'm going to go fish the BFL on Sam Rayburn, but I would love to be able to fish both events.
A lot of them are probably making a decision based off how they finished in the first BFL.
They are.
If they were top 25, they're probably like, I better not lose my spot. I better stay where I'm at.
Well, a lot of your Toledo Bend hammer, Glenn Freeman, I know he's staying at home fishing Bass Champs. He would love to fish the BFL, and several others that want to fish the BFL, but they're not going to miss a chance at 20 grand on their home lake.
Exactly.
So, but now talking about Toledo Bend, so we've got Bass Champs coming over there this weekend. This past weekend, Saturday they had a high school event on Saturday.
Yeah.
It took 17 pounds to win, and then they had Keys Toledo Bend Tackle Tournament was on Sunday. So that's a little bit different of a tournament. There's 42 spots. It's a $500 entry fee per team. There's only 42 entries allowed. So you're 1 out of 42. You got a 1 in 42 chance of winning $10,000. First place guaranteed with 42 boats.
Right.
But I will tell you, and I fished that event, it is these who's who among Toledo Bend.
Oh, ain't no doubt.
It is the best sticks out there.
It's the hammers that are of Toledo Bend.
You know, and it took, guys, this was yesterday on Toledo Bend with 20-mile-an-hour winds, a south wind.
Right.
So that is blowing right up the pipe. It took 22 pounds to win it. 22 pounds was in second place. Third place was 20 pounds. I think 17.9 got a check.
Right.
We just missed a check. We had 16.3.
But the ability to trailer in that event is absolutely
huge.
They might not have been these kind of weights had you not been able to trailer.
No, you couldn't have got to a lot of your fish.
Exactly.
A lot of those fish came from way up north.
Not without tearing something up.
Yeah, I don't see being able to get to them. But, you know, talking about Toledo, this rain is hurting a lot of lakes, high muddy water. But this rain's really helping Toledo Bend.
Oh, no doubt.
I think
still
4 foot, I think, below.
Toledo Bend is 167.65 as of today, which is Monday. It's 4.35 feet low.
So, but after this week,
it may be only 2 feet
yeah,
low.
it's coming up, and it's coming up
2 feet.
fast. So this rain's really helping Toledo, whereas places like Sam Rayburn and other rivers, Red River, it's really hurting.
Right.
But it's really helping, Toledo Bend on the rise, and it's been so cold, so them fish have not come up and spawned yet. So with the water rising like this, it's really going to put the bushes and stuff into play, especially up north.
Yeah, and going back to Sam Rayburn, it's 7.6 inches low, not feet, 7.6 inches low. It's at 163.71. And again, it's going to come up this week.
It'll be above pool by BFL
that's
this weekend.
What I think by this weekend. So the bushes will definitely come into play at Sam Rayburn this weekend. And also another tournament results, we got Anglers Quest. A couple of guys we know actually won this event, Brett Hortman, Derek Mundy. They had 20.26, it was like 20.26 pounds, 5 fish. They had a 588 kicker, and they won first place in this event. And it dropped down to 18.23, 17.34, 16.32. I think it was 39 teams participated in this event, but a good job by Brett and Derek as well. Two guys that are good fishermen. Derek's got a ton of experience over there, and Brett continues to get more experience over there. He's over there a lot, especially in the last few months. I know he's been over there
20 pounds on a day when there's a 600 boat high school tournament going on is strong.
Oh, yeah.
It's very strong, especially even at Sam Rayburn when you have that many boats on the water. In a beautiful day. It was a beautiful weekend to go fishing. Saturday for sure, there was no wind.
Right. Which a lot of times makes it tough.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
High school fishing. When are we getting to the point where all the pressure's having an impact, Kevin, on our tournaments? Are we getting there?
Well,
are we almost there?
Not only the pressure on the tournament, Steve, and the fish. I mean, these kids, the lines they're having to wait in take off, and the ones that do take off. The other ones, a lot of them are trailer. The ones that do actual take off, the lines they're having to wait in the way they're fishing.
Right.
I hope we're not going too much too fast. Right. I really do. I love the high school.
Are they having 5 fish stringers or 3?
5.
I would really, those kind of events, it almost ought to be mandatory that you go to 3 fish. If you have over, let's say, 300, let's just put a number out there, 300. You got over 300 boats, you automatically go to 3 fish limit.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I'm not a fan of the 500, 600 boat tournaments.
No, me neither.
I'm not.
I'm worried about somebody getting hurt.
I know, it's hard to get weekends on Sam Rayburn. You can't have a high school tournament every weekend.
Right.
So I honestly don't know what the answer is to this, but I don't like it. It's really, really hurting the lake. It's really hurting the fish, the pressure, so on and so forth. But I don't know what the answer is. I love high school fishing. I think it's great to have.
Yeah.
But we've got to figure out a different way to manage it. We really do.
And like I said, 5 fish limits on 600 boat tournaments, that's a tremendous impact on a lot of fish in those fish. And I've heard biologists say, man, you really can't do much damage to the population of the fish unless you're taking them all out. And I don't know. They've been hooked over and over for, well, let's just say since first week in January, And here we are going in second week in February. There's been major events there
every weekend.
I mean, the minimum of 800 boats on each one of those bodies on that body of water every single weekend. Minimum 800.
Yeah,
that ain't even counting the guys that just going fishing for fun.
Maybe the biologist is right. Maybe it's not hurting the population.
Yeah,
but it's making them harder to catch.
I've got to believe that.
It is definitely making them harder to catch. So, I hope this doesn't affect Sam Rayburn in the long run. It just getting hammered the way it has. I feel like 4 or 5 years ago, it really hurt Toledo Bend.
Yeah.
And Toledo's just now starting to come back from that. I hate to see Sam Rayburn go down because of this. It's what we won't know. Time will tell the effect it'll have on it. So.
And I guess that's going to wrap us up for this particular episode. And Kevin, again, if you're an angler out there and you're a high school angler looking to go to the next level and do the collegiate fishing route, make sure you check out Northwestern State University. Jetty Hamus is the tournament director and the what do you call his title?
The director, the
club director for the Northwestern State fishing team. Make sure you give him a call, or you can contact us, a personal message through Facebook. We'll make sure we put you in touch with the right people. Make sure you check out our Facebook page, like us, and also check out our YouTube page and subscribe. Click subscribe, spread the word. We're really trying to get more exposure. Spread the word about our program, and hopefully you've learned something here today. And we'll continue to bring you more lessons each and every week right here on Tackle Talk Live.